Well, today I'm catching up with Richie Hardcore, Team Hardcore. But before we talk about your team and your gym, mate, I've just come into City League R, and you're here giving a talk to the young people.
Yeah, Lolo just grabbed me after my run and asked me to talk to his holiday program real quickly about pornography and healthy relationships, which is a good part of the work I do outside of the gym. You know, I speak in schools, universities, businesses. I guess about social issues to do with gender equitable outcomes. Started off more about family violence, sexual violence, and then that's, I guess, peeled back to talking about constructs of masculinity, issues like that. And part of that conversation is porn, which is a weird one. No one really expects to be talking about porn at 10 a.m. on a Wednesday, but here we are.
Well, it's something that you've been involved in heavily over the last few years. You've travelled to Australia, I know, to spread the word, and something that you've gleaned through your own experiences, is it? Or?
Yeah, man. Like most young people, I was exposed to porn really young. I was like 10 years old, and that was, you know, I'm old, so that was before the internet was even invented. You know, we VHS, your friend's big brother, or, you know, some nasty stash of magazines under your parents, not my parents, to be honest, but, you know, people's, dad's stash of Penthouse Playboy. It's, you know, I've talked in thousands of schools, I've talked to men in violent offenders programs, and it's always like, how do you learn about sex and relationships? Well, pornography is the go-to answer, irrespective of who you're talking with, right? And that's not to make people feel bad when it comes to having interest in sex and sexuality and learning about sex, but unfortunately, mainstream heterosexual porn often is really violent and aggressive and degrading. Women are paid to pretend to like being called names and spit on and hurt, and men are choking people and pulling their hair and slapping them and being verbally abusive, right? If that's what you love doing in your own personal life, that I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but you need to have communication and consent and a healthy toolkit to express those things. And unfortunately, a lot of our young people don't have those skills, and they're hurting one another emotionally and physically. And that translates into adult life too. You know, we're seeing an increasing amount of cases in the media with women being strangled and assaulted, with men recreating the scripts that have been role modeled through pornography. So if we want to shift the really sad statistics we have about gendered violence in our country, we need to just educate each other and create a kind of more compassionate, empathetic society, you know. I think that helps boys and men have deeper relationships, like with their partners, that are based more on emotions and the intangibles, rather than just about like hot sex. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying hot sex is bad. I am a fan when I have the energy, but we need to be mindful that that's not the glue of a lasting relationship. And unfortunately, a lot of kids aren't learning otherwise.
Well, you're here today at the invitation of Lolo Haimuli. You're running a workshop. Just for the little bit that I saw, I think it would be a great idea for a lot of the trainers from gyms, because they're dealing with young people that are going through the time in life that they need a little bit of guidance. Tell us about your workshop that you've got coming up.
Yeah, well, today was just impromptu. That's why I'm all sweaty in my gym gear. But I do a lot of work with the Ministry of Social Development, who are real innovative. It's a hard word to say. And last year we ran the first workshop called Level Up, and we were really lucky to have some amazing coaches come and share their skills. We had Brad Riddell. I talked about healthy masculinity and pornography. We had an awesome dude called Peter Thorburn, excuse me, talking about alcohol and drugs and mental health. And we're going to recreate that this year. We've got two of them. We've got one on February the 21st up here in Auckland, and we're looking at doing Anzac Weekend down in Christchurch as well. I've talked to the bro, Carl Weber. He's looking at presenting down there. We've got Dan Hooker down in Christchurch. There's a bro called Matteo Brown. He's got a movement called Share's Not Your Rehab. You might have seen their video, Dear Mr. Rock. I don't know if you caught that, but it was an amazing viral video. and their whole kaupapa with Shoes Not Rehabs around stopping family violence, right? And up here in Auckland on the 21st of Auckland, we've got Kai France running a workshop on MMA. Lolo's going to be doing striking. I'm talking about masculinity. Sun Singh, who's Israel Adesanya's strength conditioning coach, he's going to be presenting. We're going to have a presenter on family violence prevention, and my bro Peter again. We're talking about mental health and drugs. Because like you say, gyms are universities. The education, it's like more than just about fighting. It's about, I've done martial arts my whole life, and the best thing about martial arts, I think, if you take it in the broader sense, is it's more than just physical. It's like a pathway through life that you can carry with you into your old age and be an honourable person and contribute to your society, right? And I think that, like you say, like coaches are role models. A lot of young men, a lot of young people, men and women, boys and girls, come to the gym. We don't have good parental role models necessarily, right? And our broader culture, I'd argue, is pretty unhealthy, So we can use gyms, humble gyms like this, to change the world, one conversation at a time. If our coaches are empowered to have, some skills and some education that go against those mainstream narratives, Like I say to the boys when we're talking about porn, for example, just because it's normal doesn't mean it's healthy. You know what I mean? Same with, you think about junk food, it's everywhere, right? Like, we have a huge problem with obesity and early mortality due to diet. Or if we have a diet of junk values, that manifests unhealthily in society, So many of our men are stuck inside themselves, unable to express their emotions, ask for help, struggling with depression, suicide, and that, that's something that we need to continue to talk about. But also we have an epidemic of family violence in our country because boys and men are often incapable of expressing themselves in any other way that's not anger and aggression and violence, right? So that's why we've got the worst rates of family violence in the Western world, in Aotearoa New Zealand. But we can change that if we allow our boys and men to not be who they think they have to be, which is staunch and tough and the man all the time. If we can help them be vulnerable too. You turn on your combat side when you're in this space, and then outside you can be who you want to be. You can wear your pink frilly pants, like do some cooking, be nurturing, cry, be vulnerable, enjoy poetry. You don't have to enjoy all these stereotypical masculine things. And that's what the research and the evidence and my lived experience shows us to have really positive effects in society.
Man, that's fantastic. When do you get the time to train your fighters?
All the time, man. Yeah, Tony's awesome. Tony here at Ligas, he's a man. My gym, unfortunately, the building got sold. I live in Auckland. Property developers are just flipping buildings left, right, and centre. So it's hard for a brother out here to find a space. And Tony lets me work with my fighters here at Liga. So I'm really grateful to that. And we just have a kind of pretty flexible schedule at the moment, and I got some good young talent coming through. And as much as I'm teaching them to slip an elbow in through the guard, we have these conversations at training as well. Yeah.
You had some exciting fighters come out last year. Talk about 2021.
Yeah, man. I got this kid, Alex Sorensen. He's only 18. He's a real future star, man. Like, he's only had 6 fights, I think. He lost his last one in a close split decision against a really good opponent and one of the younger Jensen brother from Wimbledon. But Alex has learned from that, and he's fighting on February 13th. It's actually my birthday, so I'm optimistic that Alex is going to bring me a sick birthday present in winning the 4-man CM Cup. Jack was German putting that down. I think they're down Napier. Are they in Napier? Where's Jacka's gym? Yeah, down the line.
Down the line.
Sorry, Liam. Sorry, Andrew. I forget. I've been punched in the head a heap, bro. I forget where everyone is. Anyway, Alex is training really hard. He's adding to a really good kickboxing skill set. And we're working his clinch game, working his elbows, working his catch game, and he's looking real sharp. And I'm really excited about him. I got some other young brothers who have a lot of potential. I got a pretty young team. Not a lot of them have been in the ring, but there's a lot of potential. And yeah, I'm excited for Alex to be leading the charge and the other boys and girls to be coming up behind them.
Well, Richie, thanks for talking to us. I know your year is going to be really busy, and I know that you'll drag some of those young fellas along through in the right direction, that's for sure.
I hope so. Yeah, well, hey, thank you very much for talking with me. Thanks for always being supportive since I was a teenage kid, Tony. I think I met you when I was about 17, and here we are a long time later. So I appreciate it, brother. Thanks for everything you do.
You might have looked up to me then, but I look up to you now, mate.
That's very kind. Thank you, bro.
Cheers, man.
Cheers.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Cool.